Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you haven't watched my videos before, then hi, my name is Fleur. On this channel, we will talk all about self-development and how you can become the best version of yourself. Today's video, I'm going to be discussing how you can overcome your fear of perception. I'm going to be splitting the video into two parts, where in the first half, I will be sharing 5 tips on how you can overcome this fear. And in the second half, we will discuss 5 tips you can implement into your life to become confident with receiving attention and being in social environments. So let's get straight into the video. Tip number 1 is I want you to remember that you aren't the main character in someone else's life. Yes, you may be the main character in your own life, but that doesn't mean that you are the main character in somebody else's life. I can promise you this. Nobody in this world is thinking about you as much as you are thinking about you. This means that even though you may be overthinking and worrying about whether that person likes you or not, they are probably also doing the exact same thing, but with you. Just like with everything in life, you have to remember that we are all in the same boat. So if you are meeting someone for the first time and you feel a bit nervous about whether they like you or not, I want you to remember that they are probably feeling just as nervous as you are, and they are probably going through all the emotions that you are going through at that current moment, because they are also the main character of their own life, and so they are going to be obsessing over themselves as much as you are obsessing over yourself. Tip number 2 is that I want you to remember that you have the control in your life. Nobody else does. Like I said, you are the own main character of your life, so no one else should be taking that role or controlling your life the way that you are controlling your life. As long as you remind yourself that no one has that control, everything will go the way that you want it to, because you know that you have the steering wheel. It's a bit like if you're driving a car, you're not going to be focusing on everybody else who is in the car, because you're going to be focusing on the road. And if someone is giving you directions or telling you what it is that you need to do, but you know that that's not what you're actually meant to do, and that the safe thing to do is to do what you know is right to do, then you're going to listen to yourself and do what you think is right in that moment, because you are the one driving the car. Whether if it was someone else driving the car, they would do the same thing, and they would focus on what they know is right and what they have been taught is right. It's the exact same thing, but with your life. You have the steering wheel of your life, and so nobody else should be taking control of that steering wheel, because it is your life, not theirs. Number 3, and this is a big one that has taken me all my life to get used to, and that is not everyone has to like you, and that's okay. I remember when I was younger, I would pretend to like certain things or change my character around certain people just so that they would like me. And what would end up happening is I never felt like I could be authentically me, because I would be so worried about the fact that they might actually judge me for being that way, because they didn't know me to be that kind of person. And on top of that, I was never able to be vulnerable. I was never able to share with these people how I actually felt. I had this persona of being this joyful, really exciting person who was always optimistic and never had anything going on with her. But secretly, my life was just as chaotic as everybody else's. I just wouldn't come to school and tell people that. I would always have a smile on my face, and they would just have this misconception that I was just this kind of person that was never sad, when deep down, it was all just a facade, and it was just because I wanted to be seen as this optimistic person. But deep down, I just wanted someone to listen to me and hear the fact that I wasn't okay. But when you get yourself into this hole of pretending to be someone that you aren't, it becomes very hard to go back to being the person that you generally are. And the reason for this is because you get so comfortable being around other people that you know that if you were to then be the kind of person that you actually are, you might not have these friends anymore, because they just simply wouldn't align with the person that you are. Deep down, you don't do it because you're so scared of being alone, and that fear of being alone overrides that fear of you being with people that don't actually see or care or understand you. You think that if you become authentic, they're going to judge you, and if they judge you, then that means that the kind of person that you generally are is not worthy of being loved by other people. But that is wrong. You are worthy of being loved by other people. You just simply haven't found those people yet. You're not giving yourself a chance to meet them because you're acting like somebody else. Like I said in my previous video, what difference does it make being alone to being with people that don't make you feel seen? There is no difference. And so if you just cut the chase and act like the person you want to act now, even if that means that you're going to be alone for a little bit, it's not going to make any difference in your life because you already felt alone when you were with them. Only when I reached my late teens and I actually went to uni did I find that I was meeting people who generally aligned with the kind of life that I wanted to live and with the person that I was. Friendships are meant to make you a better version of yourself. They're not meant to make you a weaker or more chaotic version or make you feel like you can't be authentically you. And the best way to figure out if someone is meant for you or not is to evaluate the way that you feel after you have spent time with them and also while you were with that person. Do you feel up-leveled and motivated and excited to pursue your dreams and actually be authentically you? Or do you feel exhausted and demotivated and as if you had had a mask on the entire time you were with them? Because that will tell you everything you need to know. A real friend will make you proud to be you, but a fake one will make you feel guilty for that. Number 4 is that you need to keep your perspective clear in your mind. Like I said in the first tip, you are the main character of your life, which means that the only perspective of the world that should ever override everybody else's is yours. Everyone's perspective of you is going to be completely different and unique, for we all have our own thoughts and feelings towards the world, and we have all grown up in a completely different way and have been shaped to be completely different people. I want you to think of it like this. We are all wearing different glasses in this world. You may be wearing glasses that make the world blue, but someone you have just met or someone you have known for a while that you don't necessarily feel seen by might be wearing glasses that make their world green. They are two very different colors, meaning two very different perspectives of the same world. And not only the world, but also the same individual. Which means that when you are looking at yourself in the mirror, you are looking at yourself in that blue light. But when someone else looks at you, they are looking at you in a green light, which means that the perceptions that they are coming up with of you and the way that they think and feel about you is going to be on a different level to the way that you think and feel about yourself. And that is the same for every single person on this world. No one is going to share the same opinion of you. And that means that there are going to be people who don't like you and who think that you're annoying or think that you are too much. But there will also be people who don't think that you are annoying and who don't think that you are too much and find you to be perfect and that you are enough for them, that you align to the kind of life that they want to live and the kind of person that they want to be. The next time someone expresses their disinterest in getting to know you or be your friend, that doesn't mean that you aren't worthy. It just means that their glasses are slightly different to yours, and that's perfectly fine. Number 5 is that I want you to learn to work with your fear of being visible. I remember when I was younger, my therapist told me to work with my anxiety and team up with it and understand that all it is trying to do is protect me and guide me. Now, at the time, I remember just thinking, my anxiety is meant to be good for me? She's trying to help me because she's really not doing a good job. But the more that I thought about this, the more I realized that it is actually very true. I have to tell my anxiety to sit back and allow me to take control and to just not worry about something going wrong and to not worry about the future and to just allow me to deal with what's going on in the present. And only when I tell my anxiety to just calm down and chill for a second does she actually sit back and think, okay, I'll give you a chance to figure things out. But when your anxiety is set off and you decide to then listen to that, that's when things get out of hand. And the same thing can be said about your fear of being visible. Like with everything in life, it takes us a while to reroute our brain, to change our mindset and thoughts and feelings and beliefs. That does not make it impossible. The mentality you want to have is there. It already exists, but the way you are going about it will make it impossible to get there. And so you need to literally create a new path in your mind, which is not going to be easy because you already feel comfortable taking the one that's already been made for you ever since you were a child. So in doing that, you have to be gentle with yourself and understand that each pathway you currently have in your mind has been made for a reason, and all you have to do is make a new one. And even if that does take a while, it's worth it, because one day you're going to be around people who make you feel seen, and one day you will no longer fear being visible around other people because you know that the right ones won't judge you, but the ones that aren't for you will, because then at least you'll be able to weed those people out and be around the people that are meant for you. Once you have learned to walk alongside your fears instead of being ahead or behind them, they will become a friend instead of an enemy. They will become someone that you'll be able to understand instead of judge, and you will love that part of you, because that's what self-love means. It doesn't mean just loving the parts of you that you actually like. It means loving and caring about the parts of yourself that you don't, and proceeding to put more love into yourself anyways. Yes, it sucks always having to care about what other people think of you and worrying about being seen and worrying about being visible in this world, but that fear is there for a reason, and so you have to be gentle with yourself and help you to get out of feeling that way instead of judging yourself for feeling that way in the first place. Right, now we're going to be going on to 5 tips on being confident with receiving attention. Tip number 1 is to prepare for the event ahead of time. This could look like meditating so that you are able to calm your anxiety, or focusing on your strengths and accomplishments so that you go into a room with a positive mindset instead of a negative one. Because the last thing that you want to be doing is going into a room on your phone, and I do that all the time. I will just be scrolling on my phone, even if I actually don't have a reason to be on my phone, just because I'm terrified of people actually looking up and noticing the fact that someone has actually walked in. But they're not looking at you as if to judge you. They're looking at you because they're interested to see who's walked in. They're interested to see, oh, is that maybe another person that I can go up and say hi to? And that's what you have to change your mindset to. Another thing that is very helpful is becoming familiar with the environment ahead of the event, if this is possible. If you are going with a friend, then maybe suggest a word that you could tell them when you don't feel comfortable being there anymore, or that you might need a timeout. What I love to do when I know that I'm going to an event that I kind of feel nervous to go to is making sure that I feel confident in my appearance, because it is so true that when you look good, you feel good. And sometimes the only boost that you need is to just put on a nice outfit, have that positive mindset, and go into an event thinking that you will make friends and that you will be loved by people, and that even if you aren't, and even if there are people that are laughing at you in the corner, you will just feel sorry for them. It is sad to always be constantly judging people, and that's not you, okay? That's not you. You're not judging people. And so if that means that you have to be the one that's being judged, that's better than the one that's doing the judging. Lastly, another thing that you can do is to prepare questions that you could ask people that you meet, or how you might answer the questions that they might ask you. This allows you to feel calm with social interactions and will make you feel a little bit less nervous about being seen. Number 2 is that I want you to practice self-care and self-talk. Positive affirmations are so important, because if you aren't respecting yourself, how can you expect someone who doesn't even really know you yet to respect you? The only reason why you feel uncomfortable with being seen is because you don't like what there is for people to see. Once you love what you can bring to the table and who you are as a person, you will no longer feel the desire to be invisible and be at the back of the room. Once my mum actually told me that the colours you choose to wear tend to tell a lot about how a person perceives themselves. She said that when people wear a lot of black, which used to be my entire wardrobe, that means that they want to be invisible and that they want to be at the back of the crowd and they don't want to be seen. But someone who wears bold colours feels confident enough to be seen and perceived. And I thought this was really interesting, and at the time it didn't really hit me or make much sense to me. But then I did a little bit of thinking and I realised that I have been changing my perceptions of clothing in general. I used to wear a lot of black, like I said, but now I've been more interested in wearing colours, and that has been following my journey of becoming a better and more confident version of myself. So it made me realise that once you feel safe within your identity, you don't worry about how someone else is going to perceive it, because you or love it for what it is. Number 3, and something that you've probably already heard and that I've definitely talked about on my channel, is that you need to fake it till you make it. And you may be sick of hearing this, but trust me, it works. There have been several times when someone has come up to me and said, "You are so confident. How are you so confident?" And I have generally just laughed, because I am not confident, or at least I'm definitely a lot more confident than I used to be, but I'm working on it. It's something that I'm actively working on. Just like everybody else who may be watching this video, I am also still working on the fear of being perceived, and that's completely fine. But I was in shock because I was like, I'm actually just faking it. But sometimes faking it is what makes it real along the journey, because you are literally shifting yourself into the mindset of someone who is already confident or who is comfortable with being seen and being heard, instead of the version of yourself that isn't confident or is trying to be hidden at the back of the crowd or doesn't want to be seen or listened to. I suffer a lot with imposter syndrome and can tend to overthink whether I am deserving of being in a certain place or around certain people. However, over time, I learned that you wouldn't be in that room or around those people if you weren't meant to be there. You were chosen for a reason. You were invited for a reason. And so you can't sit there and question what that reason might be, because there had to have been one for you to actually be there in the first place. Number 4 is that I want you to feel grateful that you have the opportunity to meet new people and be surrounded by people who love you. When I start to overthink meeting up with my friends, which will happen because of my social anxiety, I tell myself how lucky I am that I even have these people to meet up with, and that they make me feel seen and loved instead of make me feel like I have to pretend to be someone I'm not. Even when it comes to going to events where you know you're going to be surrounded by people and you're just terrified of that being the case, you should feel grateful and excited that you've been picked to go to this event, or that you have the chance to go to this event. And once you shift your perception of the way that you are feeling, once you change your mindset, that's when you will realize how grateful you are to be in that given situation where you can even think twice about whether you want to go to something or not, or whether you want to be around certain people or not. Nothing grows in your comfort zone, meaning that if you currently wish you could feel seen by someone or have friends that truly understand you or be visible in this world, you have to first step out of your comfort zone and allow others to see and perceive you. Number 5, and the last tip of this video, is to focus on others while you are in a conversation. Now, I know this might seem a bit controversial in comparison to everything else I have mentioned in this video, but sometimes the best tactic when you are in a conversation with someone is to just think about them and not think about you. The question you should be asking yourself shouldn't be, does this person like me? Instead, it should be, do you like this person? Because you know what? If the answer is no, why do you even care? Why do you even care if they like you if you know that deep down this person isn't the right person for you, or that you don't actually want to be friends with them? Don't put your time and energy into stressing so much about whether someone likes you or not if you know deep down that you're probably never going to speak to them again, or that this isn't the kind of person that you want in your life. That energy should only be given to people that you generally do want in your life and people that you do want to be friends with. So sometimes focusing on the other person while you're in the conversation can be really helpful to get you out of your fear of being perceived, because it will allow you to think about them instead of everything that's going on in your brain. And that is it for this video. Overall, I want you to remember that although we are all searching for a place in this world, that can only be found once you have first found a place within yourself. And I know it's a bit cringy, but it's true. And only then can you branch out into the world and feel the confidence to be heard and seen, and make those lifetime friendships that will generally serve you and make you feel excited to be alive. If this video helped you, then please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. And I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.